The winter sun never touched the inner courts of Athalion, the marble city. Its white towers threw long shadows over the palace steps, as if the stone itself intended to remind every living soul that they walked beneath something greater, colder, and more permanent than flesh. And somewhere inside these corridors, past doors carved with lions and laurels, past fountains that whispered over veins of pure quartz, a king was dying. Eryndor Valerius, known once as the Maker of Wonders, lay on a mattress stuffed with cedar shavings and swan feathers. His fingers, a sculptor's fingers, calloused from chisels, steady from years spent tracing lines across marble, trembled uncontrollably now. His spine ached with a heat like molten metal. His breath carried the faintest scent of rot. But his eyes still burned with the stubborn brilliance of a man who believed stone was eternal, and therefore so was he. The room around him was a masterpiece, columns carved with scenes of stars being hammered into the sky, ceilings painted with myths resurrected in gold leaf. Yet nothing in this place of splendor could hide the truth. The king who built wonders was being eaten alive from within. And all the physicians could do was bow, whisper useless prayers, and pretend they did not notice the trembling under his skin. He had ruled Athalion for 28 years, not through cruelty, but through obsession. Eryndor had inherited a modest kingdom, but he transformed it with an artist's arrogance. He believed the greatest act of leadership was creation, and so he constructed monuments so large they bent the horizon, towers etched with scriptures of light, amphitheaters where the echo of a whisper could reach 1,000 ears. He claimed he built for the people, but everyone knew the truth. He built for immortality. Each monument was a promise he carved to himself: I will not be forgotten. But the higher he built, the more he feared collapse. By his 42nd year, Eryndor slept only in rooms where he could see the foundations of his structures. Meals were served in corridors because he wanted to hear how the footsteps vibrated through the stone. He employed not just masons, but listeners, men who held their ears against walls at night to detect cracks forming. If a pigeon landed on a roof beam, he wanted to know. Some called him brilliant, others whispered another word: paranoid. And paranoia, like mold, spreads quietly until it consumes every white surface. The illness began with a rash. Tiny red welts appeared on his ribs, easily hidden beneath silk tunics. Eryndor ignored them. He could not be bothered by something as trivial as skin, not when he was preparing the construction of the celestial spire, a monument designed to pierce the clouds. But the rash spread. It crawled across his back like a constellation of angry stars. Next came the fever, violent and sudden. He would wake drenched in sweat, his sheets stained with a sour smell. His physician said it was exhaustion. His astrologer blamed celestial imbalance. His architect suggested too much exposure to limestone dust. They were all wrong. Something deep beneath his skin began to twist. The palace servants noticed the first sign. One morning, as Eryndor stood in the mirror hall reviewing blueprints, a thin line moved beneath his shoulder blade, a ripple, a shifting, like something small burrowing. A maid gasped. Eryndor dismissed her instantly. But when he returned to his chamber, he saw it for himself. The movement was real. He summoned every healer across the kingdom. Some muttered of plagues, others of curses. One trembling old herbalist dared to speak the forbidden word: infestation. Eryndor ordered him executed for treason. But executions do not kill the truth. The truth was growing, eating, multiplying. Soon open sores split across his torso. Thick yellow pus seeped from them, carrying with it tiny white larvae, maggots. He stared at them, not with horror, but with disbelief, because this was impossible. He bathed daily in oils infused with mint, cedar, and myrrh. He ate only foods grown in the palace gardens, untouched by common soil. He slept on linens washed in river quartz. Kings do not rot. Stones do not rot. Yet something inside him had decided otherwise. His council begged him to rest. Instead, Eryndor demanded the construction of the celestial spire continue at double speed. If time was trying to consume him, he would outrun it through creation. Some nights, feverish and shaking, he forced himself out of bed to visit the construction site. Wrapped in a cloak and clutching a lantern, he wandered among sleeping workers, inspecting beams, checking plumb lines, tracing mortar with his failing fingers, as if assuring the stone he was still its master. But stone does not comfort dying men. One night, as he leaned against a column for balance, his vision blurred. Instead of the half-built spire towering above him, he saw a grave, his grave, a slab of marble uncarved, waiting for a chisel that would never move with his hand again. He collapsed. Workers found him at dawn, unconscious, his cloak alive with crawling white threads. They carried him back to the palace in silence. From that day on, Eryndor was confined to his bed. Curtains were drawn to hide the sun. Braziers burned constantly to mask the smell of decay. The physicians removed larvae daily, scooping them from his flesh with copper spoons heated in fire. He did not scream. He refused to give the illness that satisfaction. Instead, he stared at the ceiling fresco depicting the birth of the world. He wondered what would become of his monuments. Would they outlast him, or would they crumble, forgotten, just as his body was collapsing from within? In those final weeks, he kept a journal. The last entry read, "I built cities to protect myself from time, but time has found its way through the cracks." Soon after, he called for something no one expected, a mirror. When the servants hesitated, he snarled at them with a voice half human, half gravel. They obeyed. They held the polished bronze before him. The man reflected was not the maker of wonders. His once sharp jaw hung slack, half eroded by infection. Patches of his beard had fallen away, exposing fragile pink flesh that pulsed with movement beneath the skin. His eyes, those fierce, determined creator's eyes, were sunken into hollows, as though the skull beneath had already surrendered. But still he stared. Eryndor, the great builder, confronted the one thing he could not design, shape, or control: destruction. In that moment, his paranoia dissolved, his fear dissolved, everything dissolved, except a single, undeniable truth. Stone may be strong, but flesh is weaker than memory. His final hours were quiet, too quiet. Even the palace's endless echoing seemed to hold its breath. The larvae no longer crawled, they burrowed deeper, draining the last warmth from him. Every breath rattled like pebbles falling through a hollow shell. Outside, the celestial spire continued to rise. Inside, its maker fell. At sunset, on the 19th day of the snow moon, King Eryndor Valerius exhaled for the last time. His body was already half consumed, but his face, strangely, held a ghost of satisfaction, as though his monuments would carry him forward into eternity. But the world does not honor delusion. Within a year of his death, the celestial spire collapsed during a storm. No one rebuilt it. No one carved his name in marble. No statues preserved his likeness. The maker of wonders, in the end, built nothing that could save him. And the kingdom recorded his legacy with a single phrase whispered through the generations. The king who built wonders was eaten from within.